Hello, this is Tom Cloud with my bi-monthly precious metals market update. Today I want to cover three things that I consider very important. What's going on in the food industry and digital currency and gold. Three things. In 2 weeks we'll do others, but this has been the highlight of what people wanted some kind of information on. Let me start with the food. It's amazing to think we've seen 30 processing plants burned or crashed into by airplanes in just a few months. Think about the odds of that happening. Who is sabotaging our food? What is this being done for? Is it being done? Was it all coincidence? How can 30 processing plants get hit, and 2 of them by airplanes? One in Covington, Georgia, near where I am, and then another one in Idaho. To think a plane flew into a food processing plant and caused delays in the food chain. But how about the Ukraine, which is even worse? 50% of the fertilizer for Europe and that part of the world comes from Ukraine. And here is going to be a severe price thing, plus the yields won't be as high if you don't have enough fertilizer to fertilize the crops. Food is and will become even more the problem going forward. We're worried about investments and we want to stay worried about investments. But the real thing is when people need food, what can happen? Do the globalists, the one world people, are they the ones causing this, as many people believe? It's not who's causing it, why it's causing, but the people are going to be hurt, just like the people are in Ukraine today, and some people getting murdered for their beliefs. And certainly, can you see starvation going on and what people will do to get food? But keep an eye on it because it's going to affect investments, it's going to affect net worth, economies, and certainly yields on food for Europe and even coming back to the U.S. itself. We also saw, and I mentioned a couple times ago, that my same client that told me about processing plants told me if you go in the ownership books now in Nebraska, Kansas, and Arkansas, some, if not the largest landholders, are Chinese or Chinese related. So all of it moving in as the battle goes for food. So certainly you need to have some surplus food, whether you buy it at the grocery store or get more sophisticated food, you need to get some and be ready. It's a small price to pay for the security it gives you and your family. I don't sell it, I have nothing to do with it. I buy it for me and my family, but I don't sell it. Number 2, and the most talked about, is the digital currency. A lot of people in the Christian community are saying this is the end of cashless society. And it might well be, which would move the end times up biblically very quickly. And that could be it. There's 100 countries in the world right now looking at a digital currency. And you'll see these referred to as CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies of these 97 to 100 countries that are currently under investigating whether to go that way. On 3/9/22, President Biden came up before the federal government to consider this because we're being left behind. If we're going to stay at the front and keep the dollar up, we need to be the ones proactive. Even though I don't like it, and you don't like what they're doing with it, you're still almost a force. So I would bet in this 6-month experimental period where Biden has asked the FBI and other agencies, including the Department of Justice, to look into a digital currency that would be a digital dollar and keep the same name. But remember, 50 years ago, Nixon closed the gold window, and what a horrible experience fiat currency, money by decree, has led to war. It's led to all kinds of problems just by going in and canceling it because they wanted to expand money supply for political purposes is one of the main reasons. So watch this digital currency and watch it closely. In my research, there are 2 names that pop up that you need to go on the internet and look at. One is the Brookings Institute One is the Rutherford Institute. Both of them are doing work on keeping public abreast of what's going on in that world. We're seeing where cryptocurrencies are increasing, as now they're up to like 2% of the trades in the world being paid for, and that's going to keep growing. And then the digital currencies coming. We've already had the new envoy in China come in with the first digital currency, and it's just getting started. Watch for it to accelerate and accelerate quite quickly. But I call it a done deal that we will have a digital currency. We've seen Biden, we've seen Pelosi talk about it just in the last 3 months, and now the Federal Reserve started talking about it 2 weeks ago when Janet Yellen started saying we have to keep up or we're going to lose the dominant currency in the world. We're probably going to lose it anyway, but she's right about that. But once again, why does the Federal Reserve, a private company, be involved in it at all? We know the answer, and we've all kicked those tires many times. But the interesting thing to you is to be sure that you got, and let me look, I made some notes. Some of the problems that you'll have are they'll just, anything you spend big will be reported to the IRS, and they'll see if it came from legal funds or good funds. But the major thing you're going to look at is going to be a currency that is going to be, you're going to pay a reverse interest rate, keep it basically like we've seen in Europe the last couple of years. It's been so successful. When people get scared, people are uncertain what to do. They don't want to go into bonds because interest rates are going up. Bond market's going down. Stock market's down 15%, even with the two big jumps this week of May 4th. And so you're going to put your money in there and pay 1 or 2% in reverse interest rates just to keep your money in the bank. And people will do it because they don't know where to go with their money. They don't know where to invest it because they might need it. They can't get too risky. They've got to stay. But when you have access money, you're not going to need for 2 or 3 months or 6 months. It becomes a lot easier to reposition that money and put it somewhere. But your buying and selling is going to be monitored. There'll be large expenditures be placed under surveillance and checked out to be sure it was done right. We've talked about the negative interest rates and the vulnerabilities that'll come, hackers that'll come in to your accounts. All this is going to become mainstay and something we'll see done all the time. And there's a race that has started that you don't be left behind, and that is doing your homework early because it's almost certain it's going to come as early as September 9th, which is a 6-month window that Biden gave for that research to be done. But I can tell you from, I've mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I've had the biggest consulting jobs I've ever had over the last 3 months, where families, especially generational corporations, are trying to figure out what to do with that. And we've talked and shared ideas and percentages, real asset allocation, stocks, bonds, and cash. That's a joke. And yet, you may be dealing with a money manager, that's all they do. If they don't have hard assets, then I'd change money manager. You've got to go and diversify. God tells us in Ecclesiastes 11:2 to divide our wealth 7 or 8 ways, for no man knows what disaster will come upon the land. And we've never in my lifetime in world history had more disasters coming upon the land when you look at fires and earthquakes and money supplies and just illness, pandemics, and on and on and on you go. And gold is going to be the winner. It's money. It's been money since the book of Genesis all the way up until 1972. But still, we call the currency a U.S. dollar. Now, there's never been a currency that's gone off of gold that survived. The US dollar is currently the only one, and its days are numbered. But it'll make it through right now because of the uncertainty of the markets. So the number one thing to get into is gold, not silver, not palladium, not platinum, not other commodities, but gold. You're going to see gold. And when there's a reset in this world that will happen in the next 2 or 3 years, gold will be the common denominator. It's the only investment traded in all 28 world markets. It's be something you will be able to pay and convert. You'll see that developing. Will be kind of like a cryptocurrency. You're going to see different kinds of gold. You'll have fractional gold where you pay a higher premium, but it may be worth it to have some 1/10 ounce and 1/4 ounce coins, even though 4 1/4 ounce coins are more than 1 ounce coin because of the premium. But if you're going to buy strictly for investment, you want to buy the COMEX gold bars, either 1 ounce, 10 ounce, or kilo bars, 32.15 ounces, one of those three, because remember, whether you do futures trading and use COMEX graded gold as a security, it's still, that's what the big security, JP Morgans and all these people that play the futures markets in gold and silver. So you want to be sure you get the lowest premium, and that is the 1 ounce bars that are London Bullion Market Association brands. There's 8 of them, I think. It's 8. So you'll always want to get one of those 8 brands. And you can call the office at 800-247-2812. Once again, 800-247-2812. And talk to Dan or Jade or set an appointment up with them, and I'll call you to discuss. But get into gold now, because you're going to see a price increase in it. Is it going to have some volatility? Yes. But it will be the biggest winner, as central banks already started June the 1st buying gold. We've talked about the Basel Agreement many times, where gold, along with bonds from G7 countries, are the only thing you can carry at full value on your balance sheet. And that's going to get bigger and bigger. So do that. And then lastly, if you haven't talked to me personally about the liquid diamonds that now have liquidity just like an ounce of gold, perfect XXX cut with 3 excellence and all the attributes, you need to look at it, because it may be something that you're really interested in. I call it the investment opportunity of several decades, to look at what IceCap.diamonds are doing. We've got a marketing agreement with them, but look at IceCap.diamonds, call the office, and Jade or Dan will send me an email, and I'll call you as quickly as I possibly can. But it's well worth looking into, because I can promise you in 3 months, you'll wish you had. You knew all the advertising that's coming into this starting in June. So hopefully I've got all your questions answered. We'll look forward to another session in 2 weeks. Till then, this is Tom Cloud signing out with my bi-monthly Precious Metals Market Update.